At a recent series of workshops at the Roxbury Innovation Center, people in Boston have been exploring a new approach to public transportation. It's a kind of service known as bus rapid transit, possibly connecting various neighborhoods with destinations in downtown Boston and Cambridge. To tell us about the exploration are two guests from Neustra Comunidad Development Corporation, the board vice president, Wesley Williams Jr., and the executive director, David Price. I'd like to thank you both for much being with us. I want to start with Wes Williams. Why start looking at these possibilities right now?
I think the inequities in transportation. To take the bus from Mattapan to Ruggles is roughly about an hour and 15 minutes. That's what our survey found. We spoke to over 400 people, and the surveys were done by folks in the community. They weren't from folks that are part of Neustra, the corporation, but those folks that we try hard to support with affordable housing. We tried hard to support as far as community building. We try hard to be partners. So we and this was David's idea, to why don't we ask our residents if they would be willing to participate in this very important program, so that the residents were the facilitators. They were operating a $1 million MIT one-of-a-kind facility. So, and they did it extremely well.
David, one other fundamental here is that substandard transportation really it chokes off the supply of affordable housing too, doesn't it?
That's right. People who live in affordable housing need to be able to get to work, and if they can't get to work, then they can't afford to be where they are, and to be near the work, they can't afford to live there. So the better we can get people to and from where the jobs are, the more people can afford to live where they are.
And you can't build as many units if more people in a given development need cars, I guess, too. That's another problem.
That is correct. In fact, that's the trend of development now, is to build it near transit-oriented centers, so you need fewer cars, and people are getting by with fewer cars. But if you live down Blue Hill Avenue, down that stretch, you really are hard stretched to depend on bus to get to work, and you almost have to have a car. So bus rapid transit with stations along Blue Hill Avenue and Warren would help people get to work without a car.
Wes, so one of the questions a lot of viewers might have, especially if, like you and I, they go back far enough to remember the L, is that...
I remember the L.
How could anything on the surface get around the choke points that we have today?
You know, I think the issue is, Chris, that we need to do something. So this opportunity that we were able to participate with the folks at MIT and funded by the Bar Foundation, is to really have a serious conversation about transportation. And I think those tools, and when you look at the video from those tools are one heck of a fancy way, in my opinion, to look at various scenarios, to think about possibilities. No doubt it will take the community, would have to make some sacrifices for sure. The community would have to want to buy into this. Would take the city as far as working with the infrastructure to make those things happen, in the state as far as the transportation authority. But it's strictly something that we've talked about.
Wes, walk me through that a little bit, because the way the street would be laid out, now that does look quite different from the Washington Street we know today. So what's going on there that makes this work?
Well, okay, let's look at a few scenarios. The way that the buses go now. So, okay, let's say Mattapan Station to Ruggles Station, about an hour and 15 minutes is what our survey found, and this is done by residents. I have friends that live in other parts of the T that are able to go that distance in a quarter of the time. It's not fair. Particularly where we're dealing with a community that has some challenges, and that a city that wants to work hard to address those challenges, and a community folks that want to address those challenges. We really need an opportunity to really make those decisions from the community about, will this bus station block a store? How would that affect their business? Does the community want to maybe advocate a reshaping or a little mall to support that? In other words, what do we want to give up as community members to make that important? I haven't heard many conversations like that in the past, David. And what we're trying to do with Neustra is actually just get some conversation going about it.
What have you been hearing, David, at these workshops? Because I'm sure people we're hashing that out.
That's exactly right. As Wes said, it's a conversation. When we explain what real bus rapid transit is, gold standard BRT, people have had a really positive response. And it's almost like a subway on rubber wheels, where there's a station that's covered to protect people from the elements. You pay as you go in the station. So when you board, all the doors open, there's no single file, and there's no waiting to pay. It's a level platform, so people with wheelchairs and baby strollers can get right on. And there's a dedicated lane and signalization at lights, so the bus goes through quickest. So when people hear about that, I think they're really intrigued and interested and think it's a great idea. And it's helping us reach our goal of just making it an option that people know about. We're not saying this is the solution, but it should be one of the options for the community to consider when these decisions are made in the future.
Right, Wes, one of the other things that I guess made people pursue light rail along the Washington Street corridor is that if you could get underground and have this great, almost seamless connection to the Green Line and even the rapid transit lines, then that would be the answer. Right now with the Silver Line, you can't get underground, you get stuck in traffic.
The cost, the reality is the cost. That simulator allowed us, actually, people that came to visit, we didn't tell people what to do. Our facilitators worked very well with folks that came from the community and said, here, you drive this machine, will you show how to drive a machine? Once again, it wasn't a bunch of smart guys from MIT coming over, and we have a lot of smart guys in the community. It was guys from MIT putting together an extremely sophisticated there's only one that exists in the world, they put it together, that allows you to do a bunch of scenarios, to have a conversation and think about rapid transit. And one of the models clearly showed the difference in the cost. Where's the money going to come to build the tunnel? We have the buses already, we have the drives that people want to use them. We just want to look at different possibilities of rerouting those buses. So I hear what you're saying, and there was a lot of discussion about that, but who's going to come up with the money to build a tunnel from downtown Boston
I don't see anything that looks too likely. David, if people want to find out more about this and get involved in it, what's the best way for them to do that?
Sure, the best thing is go to the website, bostonbrt.org.
All right, thank you both very much. From Nuestra Comunidad, Wes Williams and David Price.